First, I want to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. As you all know, today is Christmas, and sadly, I come with a rather sad or bad present, and that right there is that Noragami is finally over. Season 2 ended today, and I will say that this right here is definitely a messed up present to get. But this episode and overall Noragami season 2, to me it has been, very enjoyable. I liked it, and to me I enjoyed it more than I did season 1. Now I'm not saying season 1 is bad by any means, but I will say that like season 2, it definitely stepped it up. But this episode 13, I felt that, this right here was definitely a bit of a feels ride, because we have the beginning where we have Yato like dressed up in a suit, and we see him now in the city or the human world, obviously. And so we see now that while he was walking, he actually has some kid with him, and right away I knew this kid with Ebisu. They made that rather obvious. But we see now that that Hiyori and Yukine, they were actually at Takamagahara. More importantly, they were actually in Bishamon's, mansion or her land, and we learn now that she actually allowed Yato to use a recovery room, and that right there surprised me. But at least we now know that Bishamon has finally forgave Yato for good, and they can now be on friendly terms. But we see that Yato, like to me, it seemed like that that he had kidnapped Ebisu, because once he had made his like escape with him, we have Bishamon and Kazuma. We see them now looking for Yato and Ebisu, and so we learn now that Ebisu actually came here to like visit Yato. But then we learned like Kazuma's room, it was actually pretty messed up. And at first, I had no idea why that even happened. But we learn now that like Yato, he was actually fulfilling his promise to Ebisu about granting his wish about letting him get a meal at the Oliver Tavern. And so, while they were there, we see that Yato, he actually messed up Kazuma's room so that way he can like get his wallet, because he was the one that was like going to pay for the food. But we see that while they were like looking in the menu, we have Yato trying to like get Ebisu to order a kid meal, but he didn't want that. And we see now that he ordered the simmered hamburger steak, and that is what he always ordered from there, even as an adult. And so right now, the waitress, actually, realized that. And of course, Ebisu does not look that different from when he was a child as well. And so now we see that because, this girl recognizes him, she was thinking this right here was like Ebisu's son. So she actually gave him, extra for free. And so like while they were eating, we see that like Ebisu, of course he enjoyed it, because he did enjoy, a lot as an adult, or his previous reincarnation. And I will say that, that even though he was like reborn or reincarnated, it's still kind of messed up that they actually killed him off like that previously. But now we see that like while they're eating, not much has changed, because we see that Ebisu, he is still pretty clumsy, as we saw him not being able to get the carrot off his plate properly, and like went off to the side. And of course we learned that the memories from his previous self, they actually don't get passed down, to his newer self. And so now, like Ebisu is like kind of like an empty shell, who is now slowly being filled by all the new experiences, memories and all that kind of stuff. And like even though Yato was like trying was trying so hard to see if he actually could remember anything, sadly that right there wasn't the case. But Ebisu was like definitely surprised to learn that him and Yato actually fought. And so right now, Ebisu, was like definitely, recalling what like some people were saying about, how the heavens had killed him. And so like he was thinking that maybe he was someone bad who actually deserved to die. And like hearing that from a kid, that right there really like breaks your heart. And we even see Yato, getting like so worked up. And like even Yato, now holds Ebisu in like such a high regard. And so now we get a flashback of when when Ebisu had died, and we see now that before that purification ball, actually hit him, he actually got rid of his what's it called, his regalia, because that right there was like the coat he was wearing, and we see now that when he got rid of it, that right there had like spared him from getting hit. But even when Ebisu got hit by that, he was not dead, which was like definitely nice. But obviously, this guy was like pretty messed up, and we now have Yato, rushing to his side. And so now Ebisu was like thinking about, about his past, where we have his like previous regalia saying that, he will always be reincarnated no matter what, so he could like go ahead and die. But then you have Yato appearing, asking him if that right there is what he really wants. And of course, Ebisu, now definitely like value his life, and so of course now he actually wants to live. And we even have him saying to Yato that like that he actually doesn't want to die. But then out of nowhere, you just see his body like explode, and that right there was like so freaking brutal. I'm pretty sure he could have died in a much more peaceful way, instead of like making him blow up into like nothing but blood. And so obviously, that right there definitely shocked Yato. And so we see now, back in the present time, after Yato had like granted him his wish, we see that, Ebisu, he is still a god of fortune, because we saw him talking to the others. And not only that, we see now that that the regalia that he actually, got rid of before that ball hit him, that right there will be his new overseer. And obviously his previous one, the older looking gentleman who was like always with him, he was like, we see now that he was like actually expelled. But because this guy has been with Ebisu for so long, we learn now that the other gods will like take him in and kind of like hide him out. And so at one point, where he asked him if that right there was okay, and Bishamon said it was. He actually called her Miss Crazy Chick, and that right there had me dying. I was like laughing my ass off, watching that scene. And so right now, you can see Bishamon. She's like freaking furious. She is fuming. She has just like a killer aura coming like over her. And so we learn now that when she learned it was Yato who actually told him that, I definitely wish that they would have showed Bishamon and Yato interacting one more time after she had learned that he was the one who told Ebisu to call her that. But now we see Ebisu, being a child, he was playing with Bishamon's, lion regalia. And so at one point, he was like offering the money. I'm not sure why he was doing that. I'm guessing him being so innocent and thought maybe the regalia would like want that. But it was definitely nice to see him, being a kid and just playing around. That right there was like very, very nice to see. But now we see that like his new overseer, he was like telling the other gods about what Ebisu was doing, like trying to control the phantoms, and about how this had been going on for years, and so and so on and so on. And right now, this right here was like all news to them. And so of course, his new overseer, told him that he went to the overworld, like he went to the underworld to like get this brush, but right now it's gone missing. And so last time we saw that brush, I'm pretty sure it was on Ebisu, so maybe when he died, it was like left on the clothes or something, because I do wonder, how in the world did that brush, get lost? Because in the end, we saw where it said now, but we have no idea how in the world he got that brush, because we never saw him once, like last week or this week, like until the end. And so right now, going back to Yato, we see now that like, Yato is definitely not himself. Even Kofuku and like her regalia, they definitely know like that Yato is definitely not himself, because he was not even eating, the food that they actually made for him. But of course they were like they were wishing for him to get better. But we have Yato sitting in the window looking at his shrine now, and Yukine was like there as well. And so Yato actually, told Yukine to like come with him, and so they had went for a walk, and this walk now had like led to this lake area that we have seen a lot in this series. And so while they were talking, we have Yato pretty much opening up to Yukine, like telling him that all he is like really good for is like killing, but like Yato wants to change because he wants to be a god like Ebisu. He actually wants to become a god of fortune and bring people happiness, and that right there is like definitely huge. Yato character is evolving, and so we see now that while they're like having this touching moment, all we see is like something approaching them from the water, and we see now who it was, and that right there was Nora or Hero. And so right now she was like, Yato, you did a good job because you did save Ebisu even though he died. And so we learn now that Ebisu was not even a conjurer who was like a real threat, because this guy was like trying to benefit humanity. But the real conjurer who these gods have been after, it was actually Yato's father. And even though we obviously know Yato has a father, we have not seen him full appearance wise. And so of course now learning that Yato's father was the one who was like pushing for Ebisu to be killed. Like to me now, I'm thinking maybe it was that god who appeared to be some kind of leader, in that meeting of the gods, because this guy was like really, really determined to actually get Ebisu killed. So I'm thinking maybe that right there was like Yato's father. It would also explain why in the world we did not see this guy face at all, during those meetings. Now, even though a lot of those gods were like hidden, we did not see this guy face, at all. Like all we saw him like from a distance, and even though we could see his body, his face was like covered by shadows. But I'm definitely guessing that right there could be, Yato's father. But while Hero was like talking, pretty much bad mouthing Yukine, we have Yato saying that like how she never changed, she can always smile like that, but Yato cannot smile with her anymore. And so right now he was like going to release her, and for the first time we have Nora showing some like real emotion, because we see that right there surprised her. And we even have her, bringing up their past, saying that like they were always together, and we even have her calling him by his real name. But he was like, "No, I'm Yato," and we see him now actually, releasing her, and we see her fall now. Then after that, she was like gone. And so right now we have Yukine saying that if Yato really does not have to change much, but with Yukine being his guide, because that right there is what Yato asked him to be. We see now Yukine is like now determined to make sure Yato never kills again. And then we have Hiyori, who was like there watching all this time. And we see her now, wishing, that, Yato could be what he wanted, because Yato picked Yukine, and Yukine obviously picked him. And so, after this like beautiful and touching moment, we have the storm approaching them. And so now we have, Yato getting ready to take care of it, and we see him now getting ready to slash the storm, and that right there is where it ended. To me that ending scene was like definitely awesome. But then after the credits, we have Hiyori, Yato, and Yukine. They were like walking, and then we have someone watching him, and we all know who this guy is, because he was the one who asked Hiyori out on a date. Well, who actually went with Hiyori on a date and then kissed her. And so we see now that like this guy, he actually had the brush, and we learned that that right there is Yasho's father. But at the same time, he's taking the appearance of like some human boy, or maybe he could be possessing him. We have no idea. But all we see now is like one of my friends calling out to him, and then we see Nora she has her arms around his neck, and all we see is like all the phantoms like now walking around him. And so we see now that if this series ever gets to season 3, like it's definitely safe to say that Yato's father would be the main villain. And so now, like, and we see now that right there is where the series ended off at. And I will say that, story wise, I definitely like Noragami season 2, a lot more. Character wise, it's funny because I hated Yukine in season 1, but in season 2, I love this guy. He is definitely my favorite in season 2 because his character evolved by like leaps and bounds. And so overall, Noragami, like in this strong, overall, I would like give it an 8, just like how I did season 1, because to me, it's a very good series. I would definitely recommend it. Maybe one day I will like definitely sit down and rewatch both. But yeah, like I said, I liked it. Hopefully you all enjoy my reviews. If we do get a season 3, I will definitely be, picking it up again and reviewing it, every week like I'm doing now. But as always, let me know what you guys thought. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps me out. And as always, you guys take it easy. And I will see you all next time.